Okay, as much as I love that song, but all right, so we got a lot to do. All right, so far, um, um, there's been a lot of changes even to the original plugin due to the like all the missing documentations and information that we needed to actually get this achieved. Let's get to it. All right, package successful, everything works. So let's go ahead and look at how it would look like once you got everything configured and ready to go. So you're going to have few chunks, a few data assets, right? So data assets are not chunks, however they get assigned to chunks. You can have multiple data assets assigned to the same chunk even. So be careful of how confusing the documentation is, because it does say like data assets or on demand underscore chunk 01, and then you would think that data assets are chunks, and that's what really confused everybody. And it's because they got assigned to chunks. However, they are not related to the chunk at all. There's just one container that has a bunch of information, and for example, I went ahead and created this data asset just to make sure that I define the game, or I have more control of how the game works, or at least what really needs to be there, rather than having the system to guess based on like a landscape or a level. So instead of having the game guess, I went ahead and I understand, okay, so I need few blueprints that or actors or classes that needs to be there when the game launches, and then everything else I could wait on it. So those are not necessary to cook. So basically every one of these has a chunk ID. You see, like chunk ID 1, because 0 is basically just forcing the engine to understand that those things they're not acceptable to be outside of chunk 0. Okay, and then we're increasing the priority for them. However, this is the problem with that priority thing. The priority thing is a problem, because if you increase the priority on other data assets, is gonna override your first data asset that requested that information. Meaning like if you have two data assets, okay, let's just say this one and that one. Okay, this one has a priority of 10. Okay, so anything that goes below that number, like 1, is gonna kind of like be ignored. So let's say, for example, you have a data asset that you needed in the first level, and then you have another data asset that you needed in the second level. The second level, the second one, not the first one, the second one, it has a higher priority and is using that same file. Guess who's going to claim that file? The second one, not the first one. And this is going to be a problem for you, because when you open the first level, that file doesn't exist. So most likely you're going to run into a crash or some kind of weird behavior from your game that you never expected to. So be careful with that behavior, the priority choice here. Make sure that if those, and most likely you're going to run into this, because blueprints are going to be shared with so if you had like an actor of a player, and that actor is using most of the blueprints that the first level is using, so if that actor with the data assets that contains it has a higher priority, is going to reference, because like if you open one of these, let's go ahead and take a look at it here and reference view this whole thing. See, each one of those are referenced that way, right? But guess what? If you went ahead and let's not click on that one. Let's see here. So we have, I'm trying to pick something cool to show, less complicated. All right, so let's just take this back because I was just joking. Okay, that's what I was trying to avoid, basically, is not show you guys something like that. All right, so let's say, for example, this logo, right? This is just a logo. It references two things like a widget and is assigned to this data asset, right? This is good because you don't have to worry about this being called somewhere else. However, if you did actually call this one, then this one is also referencing other things, and so on. This loop of spider, it never ends. And checking one thing would give you a lot of problems. Like, for example, checking this. So this options right here, it would basically try to follow that spider all the way to the end, and is going to try to assign that priority to. So checking this is actually might not be what you want. However, in our case, because those files are very necessary, okay, we need it. We need it to take charge and to be priority, because those files, without those files, the game won't start, or it won't look the way you expect it to. So you kind of do need it. Unknowing though, you're still giving the engine the freedom of choosing whether this is very important or not. Keep in mind, if you do that, you need to come down to those priority that is like 200, 200, 200, and I might end up making it 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. The reason why, because you don't want to go above the priority of the first 0 chunk. That's just me like guessing how that system works. I could be wrong, but this is my little understanding on this. This is my little take on this. Take it or not. You're gonna face some issues, you might not. It just is all about how you made your game to begin with. Yeah, anyways, this is my take, and hopefully everything works out for you the same way, because it's not really it's based on how you made your game. Like, your game, be careful of how you make your game, because downloading templates, adding this, adding that, creating a bunch of folder instructions, you have no clue what you're gonna end up with. And then one day when you're ready to go, literally up to one of the files that you own in that is not in your game, and find out